Welcome to Transits Fridays. How was the full moon for you? What happened there? Did you have an intense time? A lot of my students had an intense time. I certainly had a little bit as well. I went to the doctors, I had some tests done, etc. I was like getting blood out on Tuesday, which is like the day, no, it was on Wednesday, the day before the full moon. I should have known better. You see, sometimes even us astrologers don't use astrology to its full potential. So I've booked my tests for the day before of that full moon with Mars involved, Aries involved, and they couldn't. I mean, I my veins are very thin with or without the full moon, and it was very hard for them to get blood from me, especially the first nurse. So I had to get it from my hands. I don't know if you can see. I've got some like bruises. I don't know if you've ever had to get blood from your hands. It's very uncomfortable. Um, so yeah, an eventful-ish week for me with this full moon, like very Aries, very Mars, with needles and blood and etc. But everything is fine. So I'm good. I've survived. My hands are okay. How was your week? How was your full moon experience? Um, Let me know in the comments. So even if I take a little while to reply, I'm always reading the comments and I really, really appreciate them because building community is very, very important to me. It's a very important aspect of my work and what I do and of my chart as well, having Moon and Venus in the 11th house. So write down your comments there. Let me know how you're doing. How was this full moon for you? And where in your chart was this full moon and the Grand Cross as well? Now, let's talk about this week's astrology. And in general, this week's astrology is a lot calmer, is a lot more peaceful as well. When I see the astrological transits, when I was looking, when I was doing some prep. So it's a lot easier for us. So it's giving us a little break from the intensity of that eclipse season and this full moon with the Grand Cross as well. And I think that represents a time where we can take a big, deep breath in and also rest, obviously, because we're leaving the peak of the full moon. So we're sort of getting into that phase of the cycle of more rest and going inwards a little bit more, but also um, a time for integration. I think that's something that's very important for this week. I think integrating a lot of the big revelations, the big emotions, the big things that may have happened during this week with the full moon, we for the next week we'll be working with these emotions, and in particular I think with the emotional side, because there's some watery placements that could be interesting for us to do some deeper healing, some deeper integration of emotions as well. All right, so let me share my screen as usual and show you what are the movements of the planets. So this is the chart for today, so October 18th. Then put full screen. And that's where we are. Yesterday we had the full moon, like we talked about, and Venus um entered Sagittarius as well. Now, yes, it's a week of rest represented by the moon, but we're still amidst that Mars, Sun, Pluto kind of energy. That's still that's still happening and still within orbs. So there's still deeper digging that's happening, that we're doing, that we're working with, but with less intensity from the perspective of the moon there as well and the movements of the moon. So this is Saturday, so that's the weekend. You can see the sun in Libra here, 26, coming to square that Pluto, which will be happening later this week, which is not necessarily an aspect of deep rest, but of illuminating things further. And I think that's kind of what's going on this week. We're integrating a lot of the energy, but also illuminating things further about the deepest, the irritation that we may have felt, the anger, the rage, the need to say no, the need to set boundaries. anything around those topics that we had to deal with during this intense full moon week. We're still going to be exploring further next week, but without the intensity, I think, the urgency that the full moon reflects, that the full moon represents and symbolizes. So are the culmination as well. We might be understanding it further and be like, right, wow, why did I behave in that way? Did I overreact? Why was I so angry this week? What was going on there, etc. So this is Sunday, and we have that sun coming to square Pluto, but still not exact, but 2 degrees orb. So it's like it's slowly perfecting some of that grand cross that we talked about for the full moon that happened, that's being imprinted with the energy of the full moon Aries, that happened yesterday. So this is Sunday. Monday, we are coming close to that square. Moon is conjoined Jupiter, so a sense of optimism could be part still of what we're going through. Not only digging deeper with that Sun Pluto square and dealing with issues of power as well, etc. All the things that Pluto usually represents. So here we are, Tuesday. That's when we have the exact square between the Sun and Pluto, and the sense of, our identity, our personalities, and what we need to dig deeper, what's on the way of our authentic selves, our authentic self-expression as well, and, things like that. That's going to be um, the sort of flavor of next Tuesday, but also is just about to shift into Scorpio season. So I think that Sun Pluto square has the flavor a little bit of Scorpio season as well, of that sense of digging deeper, wanting to look within a little bit more, getting in touch with deeper emotions as well, and a deeper sense of self, what really makes us tick, what we're truly passionate about, and more psychological honesty. I think was Stephen Forrest that described the scorpion that light, and I love it. I really think it makes sense. Scorpio stands for psychological honesty, really looking in the mirror and looking deeper and unraveling and really doing that exploration, you know, under the surface. So that Sun Pluto square is already pointing out to that process. And then on the day after, we have the sun moving to Scorpio and the official beginning of Scorpio season as well. So we're going to be in that flavor for a little bit. But I still feel that this has something to do with the integration of all of the revelations and all of the irritations and the anger and the fights that we may have had during this full moon week. So really is a week for deep reflection, for really looking and paying attention and working with these energies. Now, another interesting flavor, and what I was telling you in the beginning of this video as well, is the watery flavor, the watery energy. And we have Mercury and Scorpio in a very exact trine to Saturn as well on a day that we have the Sun Pluto square. And that's kind of why I also feel there's that sense of deeper integration of the things that we've come across, that we became acquainted during the full moon and that grand cross, that difficult full moon Aries. And again, is in water. It has to do with our emotions, with a deeper sense of who we are or what makes us feel emotionally secure, emotionally safe, or emotionally connected as well. And also joining that trine between Mercury and Saturn, on Tuesday, we have the moon in Cancer, trining that Mercury and Saturn as well later that day, later in São Paulo. But yeah, so we're gonna have a grand trine, a quick grand trine because the moon moves a little quicker. But I really feel that Tuesday could be a day that we could integrate things, that we could heal further, that we can understand more about the things that happened this week, and heal our emotions, understand our emotional needs a little bit more, and how to balance out with that strong burst of assertion that we may have had. felt the need for or acted out during the week of that full moon in Aries. So, really, Tuesday is the day to look forward to and to pay attention to as well. So, this is Wednesday, 23rd. Scorpio season officially starts. We have that sun in Scorpio, and also that Mars moon kind of conjoining and trine that Neptune as well. So it's a kind of a continuation of an emphasis in trines between the planets in the element of water that we have during this week. And again, I really feel that's the free flow of emotions can be there, and then we can be in touch with it. And we can be in touch with our emotional needs, our need for emotional security, um, loved ones as well, perhaps forgiving some, mishap or something that's happened during the full moon, or being forgiven as well, or, whatever it is that can be represented by that trine to Neptune. But the anger issues are still there. Mars is still coming to oppose Pluto. It's not going to happen this week, but it is coming to, perfection. So we're still dealing and looking into that process within us all. Why is so hard to say no, or why do we why are we so quick to anger, or why are we get so irritated with family members or closed ones, or why do we not set boundaries properly with family members? Any issues around that could be represented by Mars in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn is still there in the forefront, but it won't be perfecting this week. Like, this is Thursday, the 24th, and it's still coming, but not really perfecting. And even on Friday next week, it still won't be perfected yet. But that's okay. This is something for another video. But just to give you the heads up that this is gonna be in our, as another flavor within the major flavors of the week. All right. So that's still kind of happening in the background. But those trines in water, the beginning of Scorpio season as well, including that square between the sun and Pluto, are aspects of that deeper integration, understanding, and emotional healing as well that we can experience during this week. So if we work with the energies with intention, we can achieve a lot of that. So that's it. This is what I had to share with you about this week, about the astrology of this week. Let me know how you're feeling. What are you looking forward to in these aspects? How you're going to work with that Grand trine in water, and how was your full moon as well? And I'll be seeing you all next Friday. So take care. Lots of love to you. Mwah. And I'll see you next week.